Welcome to the Healer's Circle, where extraordinary healers share their personal journeys, wisdom, and how to heal yourself. My hope is that their insights, practical tips, and aha moments inspire and guide you in discovering your own gifts to reach your highest potential. Welcome, Dr. Lara, intuitive life coach and angel channeler. It is such an honor to have you join us today.
Well, it's actually my honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
I first thought I will share how I even found you. This such a treasure is actually through your husband, who I found through someone else. And so it was just interesting. I bought this course and was like kind of like just having it on the background, cleaning my apartment. And then your husband, Lara Romero, who has this amazing healing music that changes people's lives, in my opinion, was just kind of on the background. I wasn't even paying attention to it. And then suddenly I just started to cry. And for like 5 minutes, I had no idea why I'm crying. And then I shared it with my sister, and the same thing happened to her. And then I'm like, okay, I need to purchase a course with him, which I did. And then, of course, in that process, somewhere, he must have told the treasure of your existence. And then I was hooked. You have these amazing weekly angel channel YouTube messages, and they're kind of like candy every week. I cannot wait to hear another one. And you're also a huge aha for me, because when I've been working with clients from like starting off as a massage therapist 20 something years ago, and then I started to see these like movies and images in my mind. I'm like, what is this? Am I going crazy? And then I found you and I saw you close your eyes and channel the angel message. I'm like, oh my God, she's doing kind of the same thing. So I'm not crazy. So please do share. What is it that you do? What do you see? Tell us more. Who are you? What do you do?
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. What do I do? I channel the angels, but it's not just messages. I channel their healing energy as well. So when I work with people, I actually tap into their higher self. I tap into the ancient ancestors with the angelic energy as well. And I'm basically like a channel for their messages, but also for their energy. So we go through and we clear past lives, and we clear generational trauma, and we work through with the ancient ancestors. Like, there's so many things that I do that, to put it in a nutshell, basically, I break people open to help them get on their soul's path. Because
I think so many people are like, well, I don't know what my soul's path is. What am I supposed to do? So you're able to kind of tap into it and help people get some clarity in this world?
Yeah, because, like you said, we come here for a purpose, but we forget what it is because life gets in the way and we have amnesia. But we know that we're here for a reason. So the people that come to me, they know that they're here for a reason. And basically, with breaking, literally breaking people open, and their lives sometimes are turned upside down, and they get rid of everything that they don't need anymore to help them on their path, on their right and perfect path of their soul's highest and best good. Yeah.
Do you mind sharing a little bit with the listeners how you got on this path? Because I think it's such a great story, but just highlights of it.
Okay. Well, I was brought up Catholic, and when I was 9, I just knew that life was different. I knew I was different, but I didn't understand why. And I knew that there had to be more to life than the 5 senses. And as I grew older, I was in an Irish Catholic home, and my dad was an alcoholic, and I started drinking at 13, and just continued on my party journey, not really thinking a whole lot of it, but I wasn't really following my right and perfect path. I kind of went off on this whole other journey of dark night of the soul, and I got really depressed and really sad. And I remember one time I was driving home, and I was really tired, really, really tired. And I was talking to the universe, and I was like, I don't know why I'm here. There's got to be more to life than this. And if I, fall asleep at the wheel and get in an accident and I die, I'm good. Like, seriously, I was good. But if I fell asleep and then received like a message or survived, then I knew I was here for a reason. And that was my last thought. And so I went over like 4 lanes of traffic. And I remember there's a big semi right next to me, but I missed him and went off the side of the road. And I woke up with, my car just like bouncing around because I was in dirt. And I thought that my foot was on the brake. So I pushed really hard, but it was the gas pedal. So then I went back onto the freeway, 4 lanes of traffic. And then finally my car stalled facing traffic. And this was like 11:30 at night. So there were definitely cars on the road, but it wasn't like a huge amount of traffic. And I pulled off to the side of the road and nobody stopped. Like, they saw the whole thing happen and they just kept driving. And I got out and I looked at my car to see if anything happened. I didn't see anything. I drove another 20 miles home and made it home. And then the next morning, my dad was like, "What'd you do to your car?" I go, "What are you talking about?" And he said that the light was broken and my front tire was flat. But I made it home for 20 miles. Like, it just like the whole thing just totally like pulled the rug out from under me. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm here for a reason. So that was like the opening of my spiritual awakening. Like, I knew I was here for a purpose, but I think the bigger one was, I went down to Mexico with a bunch of people and it was like party every weekend. I was drinking all the time. And it got to the point where it's like, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm not going to get where I want to go. I didn't know where I wanted to go, but at that point, I knew I was here for a reason. And I knew that my life could be better. So when I quit drinking, it was like almost like the next day I woke up and everything was different. Like, everything. And it was like this huge veil got lifted out from under me over my eyes. And it was like, I didn't trust the pharmaceutical companies. I just saw everything so differently, like when I was 9 years old, and it just came full circle. And I think that was my biggest spiritual awakening. And I just saw all the illusion of where we are and what we have been told. That was it. So it wasn't like a huge thing. It was just something like I literally woke up one day and I saw everything different.
Yeah, that is so interesting because you also mentioned 9 years old. And I remember being 9 when my parents got divorced. And I was crying to my mom, like, "Oh, I don't want to be in this world unless there's something significantly bigger or there's like a higher purpose to that, not just like the human ant kind of world of going around in circles of the whole same over and over." So interesting you mentioned that age as well. Don't know if there's any significant connection to certain ages in life where we recognize something or take something. Like someone said, well, till you're 40, you don't really know what you're doing because you need to experience life. So for you to really understand what you're doing now, how would you go from like, experiencing, testing, something, and then well, now I know what it is that I'm doing? Because in some ways I feel there's, like you're saying, like a buffet of all sorts of different things that I do, but it's still endless. Like, at what point you say, this is what I'm doing, and how did you know this is what you're doing? Did you go to school?
Okay, so I went to Cal State Fullerton. I got my bachelor's in human services, which is counseling. And I was like, there's got to be more than I can offer these people than just theory. And so I was introduced to metaphysics. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, that was it. Like, it came into my life, and with every cell of my being, I'm like, okay, this is what I need to study. And once that opened up, I met all of these healers. I met someone that did breath work and kinesiology, and I had a mentor that she was just absolutely amazing, and she just opened up a lot of stuff for me. But I actually went on that journey to heal myself.
Mhm.
Because, I knew that there was a lot of trauma that I needed to let go of. I knew there was a lot of stuff that I had to heal around my father issues. So it was actually kind of like a self-serving way for me to get into all of this. And I was totally open to it because I had tried traditional therapy and it just didn't work for me. So as I'm healing with these amazing healers, they're like, you need to learn how to do this. And I need to teach you how to do this. And we need to activate these codes that are within you and all this. So I was activated through my healing. But I still didn't know what I did. Like I would walk with my friends around this lake that we live by, and their lives would completely change. Like amazing, and I'm like, well, I know something happens. And then I finally had a session with a shaman. And she asked me, she goes, do you know what you do? I'm like, oh my gosh, please tell me. So it wasn't like I knew I did something, but it was like a village. It was like the help from a village of other healers that could see what I wasn't able to see. And I was actually thinking about that today. Like, why am I not able to, or why wasn't I able to know what I was doing? And the angels, they said, because it had to keep my ego at bay. Because oftentimes when, well, this is what I do and da 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 da, then the ego comes in. It's like, this is what I do. And then we try and figure it out. So that's why I didn't know. Like a lot of people told me, you work with angels, you crack people open. Oh my goodness, you can do this and you can do that. And sometimes what happens, like early on when I was doing my sessions, I had to completely get myself out of the way and just ask for guidance. Mm-hmm. And then I would see things and then they would show me. So the thing is, like, I'm not actually doing it. I'm just a channel and they are doing it and they are showing me what they're doing.
Yeah. So do you mind sharing how you see it? Because people often ask me, like, what do you mean see or watching movies? I'm like, well, I have my version of how I explain it. How do you see stuff? How do you know what you see?
Well, when I do my sessions, my eyes are always closed. And it really is like I can see it, like through my third eye. Sometimes it's in color, and I can see what they're doing. Like, oh, okay, they're doing surgery on you now, or this is a past life thing. And they talk to me in symbols, so I know what certain symbols mean. And sometimes I hear what they're telling me. I just trust. Like these thoughts come in, and I'll be working with somebody. And I'll say, okay, this is what I'm getting. Are you open to hearing something? And they'll say yes. And they'll say, okay, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, how do you know that? And so I hear it. And then sometimes there's just a knowing. Like I'll be talking to somebody and I'll pick up something in their sentence and I'll say, let's go back to that and let's review what you just said. And then the information comes out.
Two things you mentioned, I'd love to get a little bit more insight. So you mentioned symbols. Is this something that develops over time? You come to like recognize them, or how do you know what it is? And then I'll ask another question later.
It's things that happen over time. Like this is like over like a 20-year period. This isn't something that, is like, oh, okay, I woke up one day and this is what I can do. A lot of it's trial and error. And some of the symbols, like I was actually doing a video this morning and I see this. And it's like, okay, well, that tells me that they're pointing to somebody. This is a specific message. Mm-hmm. So, and it's just kind of asking, like, if I don't know what something means, like one time I did a session and I saw an anchor. Mm-hmm. And I told the person, I said, I'm seeing an anchor on a boat. And she's like, oh, yeah, I don't know what that means. So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So I didn't think much of it. And then she told me like 6 months later, she said, when we were on that session, I knew exactly what you were talking about with the boat and the anchor, but I didn't want to go there.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah. So that's a message that I want to give, the healers, that if you see or if you, download something and it doesn't make sense to you, say it anyway, because it might make sense to the other person.
Yeah. And again, still just trust what comes, even though it doesn't make sense to us. Yes. And I've had that experience as well, where I'm like, okay, I think I'm tired, I'm lost. And that's when the person's like, Well, actually, and that's
Mhm.
where we really had to go in order to heal and everything. Now, you also mentioned codes earlier. Can you tell us more about what do you mean? Like, are we accessing codes? Are we downloading something? And after that, we have access to some, what do you say? I don't even know how to word it, like abilities to see something or do something. What do you know about the codes? Or
So, from what I understand, is that we have the codes within us. We have that makeup already. And sometimes we are downloading other things, like other information that comes into our body, but we don't really have access to that quite yet because we don't need that information. So, with intention, you can ask for the light to come in and activate codes, or with the light that's coming in, like on the planet right now, that light is actually coming in and it's activating what is stored in our body. So these codes, they help us remember why we are here. They can help us. It's like, oh, I do have psychic abilities. Oh, I can do this. I can do that, and that gets activated when it's time for us to use that information.
that reminds me actually when I came back from Europe, because I'm originally from Estonia, and often when I return from there, something else opens up. And it was the weirdest thing that 1 week in a row, every morning I woke up, I took my computer, I never turned it on, and I was just typing. My fingers were going like crazy fast and just typing things away. And I'm like, what is this? And I was talking to another medium in Estonia. She's like, I think you're just downloading codes, but as a human, you would never understand them anyway. You don't need to understand. But you were just kind of like downloading it, and then a week later, I was stunned and never done it again. I'm just like, what was that? So when you experience things that you have no idea of, I guess we don't have to know, but as a human, like I'm curious, I still want to understand it. What do you do with stuff when it happens and you don't really know what to do with it, what it is?
That's a tough one because for many years I was like, I don't know what I do. I don't know what I do. But it never stopped me from doing it. And like I said before, the more that I tried to understand what I was doing, the more it took me out of that space I needed to be in. And I think, we're curious by nature, and it's interesting and it's fun, but the thing is like nothing has meaning except the meaning we give it.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever your perception is, whatever comes into your mind, whatever your background is, that's how you're going to perceive something. So it's just about allowing things to be what it is and not thinking that you have to have an answer for everything, because when our mind gets involved, it takes us away from that intuitive space. So whenever I go into a session, I ask that my ego is put aside and that I am there for a channel for this person to have the healing that they need to have. And that's why, they're like, well, do I need to ask a question beforehand? Should I give you my dissertation before? I'm like, no, I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know anything about you so that I can be more clear of what I see.
Yeah, but initially I definitely felt like, yeah, but I feel like I need to prove it to the client that they're making sure that they get a lot out of it. But then often it's like, well, but they might not get out of it immediately. Could totally come afterwards. But just like the human ego is like, but we need to know, or we need to deliver.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that that's a normal process. I remember feeling that way. It's like, oh, I hope they get what they want. And I would be very nervous before a session. But I think that's just learning. It's like when you're learning something new, you don't know everything, but you know enough to get started. And I think that's the key, is like work with what you have and then more will come. And in the beginning, I wasn't charging, because I didn't know what I was doing. So I didn't know, that I didn't feel like I could charge anybody. But after seeing person after person after person, I'm like, okay, there's something here. And what's also important is that when you first start healing, or you first start doing these sessions with people, and you get these people that tell you like these testimonies of things that happen, get a journal and document it. Document it and say, okay, this happened in this session, because what happens is the ego comes in and it says, that really didn't happen. You didn't really do that. Yeah, right. It's just a coincidence, or synchronicity, whatever. But when you have it documented, and I had a journal because some of the things that were happening, I was like, like, really, that happened. But I think it's really important and to understand that when you are in that phase, just the more that you can trust what you get and let go of the outcome and understand that these people are coming to you because on some level they know that you can help them. Mm-hmm. They know that, or else they wouldn't book a session with you or they wouldn't come to you. So it's about trusting that they know better for themselves as well.
Yeah. And what do you suggest to the ones who are like in a very, very baby step of this, like, oh, I'm curious about the spiritual world, I've experienced stuff, but they're afraid to really enter it for whatever reason? Any suggestions to them?
If you're afraid to enter it for whatever reason, check to see what the reason is. If it's because you think other people are going to make fun of you or whatever, then just don't tell them. Have it be your sacred thing. If you are nervous about going into it because you don't understand it, because coming into the spiritual realm and energy, you don't understand. I mean, I've been in this for a long time and I still don't understand a lot of things that happen, so it's like, be cautious, but really feel within here, is this good for me? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Comment like, oh, I'm afraid to let go of who I am or like my life the way it was and things like this. I'm like, well,
it will.
It will be changing, but upgrading in my opinion,
Yeah. Well, I mean, anytime you come into something huge like that, especially a spiritual awakening, like when I had my spiritual awakening, like there was no more drinking. The people that I hung out with, I couldn't hang out with them anymore. And it wasn't like I didn't want to. Mm-hmm. It just didn't resonate with me, and it just made me uncomfortable, and I hated being there. So it was like there's this no man's land from the life you once had to the life you're moving into. Right. And it's about being comfortable with the uncomfortable and understanding that we're growing and changing, and with that there's growing pains.
And if you're not ready, you don't have to force yourself, but it's like when you are, you are. But do you have any suggestions for the ones who are like, okay, I do want to, but how do I discover it? Do I go to school? What's your suggestion to the people who are interested in this world, but how can they, I don't know, discover themselves, what they have access to, I guess?
You can look on the internet and figure things out, but I would do see what's in your local area, because I just sought it out. When you set your intention with something, like I want to learn about spiritual stuff, I want to learn about crystals, go to like a metaphysical bookstore or a metaphysical shop and just kind of look around and see what you're drawn to, because most people are drawn to something in the beginning. They're either drawn to the chakras, or they're drawn to crystals, or doing spells, or metaphysical stuff. Like they're drawn to something. So whatever your interest is, just set the intention, like this is what I want to learn. Ask your angels for help, ask your higher self for help, and you will be amazed at how things come into your life. Like there'll be a book, someone will mention it, you'll find out that some metaphysical shop opened up. Yeah. Or you could have a conversation with a complete stranger that could completely open up your world. Mm-hmm. So, if you have those inklings or that interest, definitely follow up with it. And if you're scared about other people, just keep it to yourself for now.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. What are your thoughts on protecting yourself or your energy? What's coming through for you for that?
That's a big one. There's like two trains of thoughts on that, because a lot of people, they put themselves in a bubble of energy to protect themselves. And then they say, well, if you're protecting yourself, then there's harm out there and you're reinforcing the harm. Okay. What my take on it is, you can't have light without dark. Okay, you can't have the good without the bad. And it doesn't mean that the bad is bad and the good is good. They're just different energies. And we are energetic beings. And we can get our energy sucked from us, and we can suck other people's energy, you know? So what I do every morning, I do this for my family too. I ground them down. I visualize this. I ground them down and I encircle them in a cocoon of light. And I just asked for them to have a happy, healthy, and safe day. And then I asked the angels to surround them and to watch over them. And my mom, she did that for us growing up. She would always ask our angels to watch over us. And I didn't know this, but I tell you, the situations I got myself into, those 10 years of drinking, it is amazing that nothing really, really horrible happened to me. And I truly believe that I had angels watching over me. So for me, it's not about keeping the bad entities away. It's about, this is my space and I get to choose who comes into my space. And if you want to suck my energy, you can't. And if you want to dump stuff on me, I'm not going to take it. So it's about making a conscious choice about how you show up in the world and boundaries.
Yes, I love that you're saying that. And that's why I'm totally with you on this world, because I often do hear a lot of the protection. I'm like, well, yes, but no. And I love, you said exactly the way I love it is, we bring light, we bring the love, the focus is completely on the positive. And it takes care of the protection in that way. But the focus is not like I have to protect myself in that way. It's just a very slight borderline, but it's a huge difference in my opinion.
And it's very important, because when I first started, I didn't know anything about energy. So I didn't have any of this around me, like any of the light around me, like I didn't do that. And I remember when I first started, I went to, it was a live event, and I would put my hands on their shoulders and then I would whisper information into their ear. And there was this one person there, like I knew that there was something off about this person. I just felt it. But I was first starting and it was like his turn, and like, I don't want to touch this guy. I don't want to. But then the ego's like, well, you touched everybody else. So so I'm like, well, all right. So I did. And what happened, he actually had like an entity attached to him. And by me touching him, it attached itself to me, and I brought it home. Mm-hmm. And for 3 months, I was not able to sleep, and it just wreaked havoc on my body. And I tried other healers to help me get rid of it. Nobody could do it. And the only way that I was able to do it was just one night I was just at my wit's end, and I said, enough. Because you can tell these entities to go back to their source, but they don't listen. The really powerful ones don't listen. It's like, yeah, you can't tell me to do that. So I'm like, okay. And they feed off of fear, and they feed off of anger, and they feed off of frustration. So the more angry and fearful I got, the stronger it got. So I was just praying just one night, like, please, angels, please help me. What do I do? And I went into my heart space and I envisioned unconditional love just glowing out of my body, growing bigger into my whole aura, my whole experience. And what happened was this entity that was attached to me, it couldn't hold that frequency.
Exactly.
So that is how I got rid of it.
I love it. That is so important. I'm going to be sharing that with everybody, because again, it's like we're going to the positive thing, right? Versus like feeling more of the anger, fear, and everything else, where they can have the power over it, be fed off of it, like you said. But for like the regular human muggle world of people who are just like falling down into, like, we all have bad days or bad everything. Do you have something that you do that might also be useful for others? Like, oh, I have such a, bad kind of like going down the hill day. Like, what do you do?
There's a couple things that I do. If it's really, really bad and I don't want to feel it, I bring in the light. Mm-hmm. And I emanate that light. But what I learned is that those bad feelings are there for a reason. They're there to teach us something, and they are coming up for us to look at it. Mm-hmm. So it's one thing to like look at those emotions and deal with it, and it's another thing to stay in it.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to stay in it. So what happens is like when I have those irritating feelings, actually, I had some today and I'm like, I'm just irritated right now. I don't know why. And then I went for food. I'm like, no, I'm not going to eat anything. I'm going to sit with it. And I was still uncomfortable. I went for the phone. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I sat with the uncomfortableness. I'm like, what is this? Why am I feeling this way? And it was, oh, I'm being pushed out of my comfort zone. That's why. That's why I'm irritated. So it was like, once I realized that, it was like, okay, now I can feel that and release it out of my body. So many times we don't want to feel something that doesn't feel good. So we stuff it down, but where does it go? It stays in our body. But if we can acknowledge it and then feel it and release it out of our body, then we don't stay in that space.
Exactly. We can actually let it go through us as a wave versus being stuck. And it's going to want to keep coming back for us to have that feeling at some point to face it. So might as well get it done with it if we have time and we're in a place to do so. So I love that tip. As we're giving out tips, do you have any tips for a younger you when you are like, oh, if I could roll back time, I would tell her to do this.
Oh gosh, what would I tell my younger self? To honor myself more, to make decisions that were good for me. Because so often I made decisions because I wanted somebody to like me or I wanted to belong to something when I knew full well it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I think I would tell myself it's okay to march to the beat of your own drum.
Yes.
And to listen to that and to allow myself to be different and to embrace it because, these days I'm glad I'm not like everybody else. I'm glad that I am who I am and that I opened all of this because I get to help so many people and I love what I do. And if I didn't follow my heart and do what it is I wanted to do, I wouldn't be able to experience what I get to experience today.
That's lovely. And we do need to wrap up in a moment, but I also wanted that perhaps you can mention the book that you have that we can then later put a link underneath and share with others. If somebody wants to find you on YouTube and learn about this book.
Okay. Well, I do have a YouTube channel, Dr. Lara Romero, and I wrote a book. It's Living Life on Your Terms, the Healer's Edition. And that is to help light workers who are just waking up or have been awake for a while. It talks about helping them transition from the life you once knew to the life that you are going to go through and know. And it actually helps people kind of craft their life. If they choose that they want to make this a career, it helps them craft their life so you can show up the way you want to. Like everything I do in my life today is because this is how I wanted to do it. I didn't say, oh, well, I need to do this. I have to do this. No, I had conditions and this is how I want to show up. So that book helps people do that. And that is available on Amazon.
Perfect. We'll add a link underneath and every other way people could reach out to you and listen to this amazing YouTube channel that I said I preciously adore and just get so much from it. So thank you for being you, doing what you do, sharing yourself with the world and taking the time to come and chat with me today. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. It is my honor. And I'm so glad that you are doing this. It's wonderful. And it's such a great experience to be part of something so cool. So thank you.
Thank you for joining us. If you are a healer with valuable insights to share, we'd love to hear from you. As together, we can inspire, heal, and raise one another. Till we meet again, sending you love, light, and gratitude.